When LeBron James decides he's retiring, it is coming with trumpets blaring, Adam Silver by his side, and he is going on a state-by-state, coast-to-coast tour so that everyone can acknowledge how great he was and give him a parting gift and thank him for his amazing contributions to the NBA.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Look at Nikola Jokic. He had kind of gotten himself off to a slow start at the beginning of the year, but that was partially because of that 50-point game that Aaron Gordon had, or it was the Jamal Murray had a big game. But these last 6 or 7 games, he's been putting up video game stats. His 62.8% from the floor would be the best in, I think, 3 or 4 years.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
It's stunning to think that, right? And I had the over on the win total, or going into the year with the Patriots, was 8.5. I thought they could win 10 games. They've already won 10 games. And that is a stunning turnaround, to go from worst to first here. And they're not the only team that could do it. The Jaguars could do it too. They are right on that precipice here if they handle their business against the Titans the next couple weeks and, at least split between the Indianapolis Colts, those 2 games.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
We are officially in hour number 2 of a Tuesday edition of the Early Line right here on the Sports Grid Network. Donnie Wrightside along with Joe Ranieri. You know the drill. We get down 7 to 9 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, giving you all the information that you need to know, which includes, Joe, the hottest topics in the sports landscape, as I like to say. But hour number 2 is here. The energy is high. Great topics to get into, and we are, in just a few moments, Joe, going to talk some college football and where we stand. Not the committee, Joe, where we stand.
All right. This is, it starts tonight. And there could be a collective earthquake that you hear tonight around 8 o'clock, because the amount of outrage from college football fans around this country is going to be loud, Donnie. Very, very loud tonight.
When growing up, Joe, my parents used to tell me, hey, you know what? You get into tough situations, don't paint yourself into a corner you can't get out of. That television show, getting them into a lot of trouble right now, and they have one more chance to rectify. We'll get to that in just a little bit, but let's get to the early lineup first, which dealt with the Monday Night Football game last night. How about 30 first-half points for the New England Patriots as they cruised to a 33-15 final over the Giants? Look at these records. 11-2 for one side, the Patriots, 2-11 for the Giants. Drake May, 24-31 for 282, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a QBR of almost 68, and a passer rating of 126. The kid looks like he's the MVP. Another big night for the Patriots.
Big night for the Patriots, but a bigger night for the Giants, making life very easy for the New England Patriots last night. So, kudos. They, get the job done. But when I'm going down this list here, and again, the schedule has been very, very favorable to the New England Patriots. The problem, Donnie, that I have with this Patriots team is at some point they're going to have to elevate their game against better competition. And let's see what they look like then. Because right now, beating the Giants at home on a Monday night after the Giants handed you 17 points in the first half, let's pump the brakes on how great this New England team is just yet.
Pump the brakes. We look, they're in the referendum schedule for me. Like, oh, you know what? You're supposed to beat these teams. Let me see against a good team. Then they beat a good team. All right, let me see you do it again. But we'll see. We'll find out. They look good right now, but they're also the product of a very, very soft schedule. Sauce Gardner, lost in the sauce, as we like to say. One of the best cornerbacks in football. How long is going to be down for? And if you are the Colts, you can't afford it. You are running away. You were the number one team in the AFC. No longer the case. Now you're fighting for your division. Sauce needs to come back sooner than later, but he's going to be down multiple weeks, Joe. He just is.
Yeah, and that's not good because, listen, you saw what happened to that secondary against, Nico Collins and Houston once he went down in that first quarter. And it was not good. They had no answer. And, that's the problem because Indy now has, very little room for error moving forward, right? You take away Jonathan Taylor, and what are you offensively? And now all of a sudden you lose your shutdown corner. What are you defensively? Not a lot of room for error anymore for the Colts here.
Break your hand, Joe. You're calling out of work for weeks. Break your hand as an NFL player. You're back in the next week with pins. Get in there, kid. We need you at this point in the season. Justin Herbert looking to play next Monday night against the Philadelphia Eagles. He's officially listed as day today.
Yeah, he didn't take a snap under center after that injury, Donnie. And I don't know that he's going to take a snap under center now that he's had the surgery and the pins in there. So could be a lot of shotgun, get the ball out quickly. But one thing we know, Donnie, is that if he can play, he will absolutely play in this game.
It's a good point you bring up, too, because if you watch that Chicago Bears-Philadelphia Eagles game, they were lining up under center and handing that football off and pounding the Philadelphia Eagles. If you can't do that, let's see how some things change with Kamani Vidal in the backfield. Looking forward to that game Monday night, win or lose for my Philadelphia Eagles. How about Penn State? I like this, man. Sataki, chance to be the head coach in Penn State. I always hate Penn State. I hated Bill O'Brien. I hated James Franklin. You hire Sataki, starting to get a little bit warm and fuzzy on Penn State here. I like this move if it does happen.
You got to love it. I mean, listen, 22-3 the past 2 years at BYU, really which is coach. Also his alma mater. It is very, very, very good. Don't forget, they had to transition from that, independent now all of a sudden to the Big 12. And look at, he's one of the best teams in the Big 12 after getting there. So he has been phenomenal. And kudos to Penn State for not playing this out in the media, for handling your business behind the scenes. Let everyone else get the headlines. You get the right guy for the job. And I think that's exactly what they're doing.
But was it D'Antonio or D'Antonio was the coach? I always get him caught up with D'Antoni, the NBA head coach. Yeah. That's the last time you had a pretty good coach. Yep. It's about a good time you had a coach. You hire a couple bums, you try to resurrect it. Pat Fitzgerald, he knows how to win in the Big Ten with limited resources like he did at Northwestern. I love this hire from Michigan State here. Bring some stability back to Sparty.
And what a great opportunity for him. I mean, listen, the whole hazing, it was very unfortunate at Northwestern. He was kind of the scapegoat, and, he ended up tied up in lawsuits against him. The university ended up settling with him. So, now let's water under the bridge. He'll be better for it. And I think that Michigan State will be much better for getting a re-energized Pat Fitzgerald on the sideline.
Yeah, hazing's been going on for 100 years in football. Can you imagine LSU getting their coach in trouble for a little hazing incident that they had? Only Northwestern would have a major issue with that. Great coach at Northwestern. We'll see what he does with Sparty here. Devin Booker, groin injury. He's probably not going to be available for a couple weeks either. This is the NBA. When are we going to see him, Joe? March? Playoff run? When do we see him next?
If you're lucky, Donnie. But it's not just him. I mean, when you consider the amount of guys and names that have not hit the court even yet. But now we've got no Wembanyama, no Ja Morant. Here we know Halliburton hasn't played, Tatum hasn't played, Kyrie hasn't played, Lillard has. I mean, it's like, my goodness, now Booker's out. Oh God, here we go, NBA. Wealth of health there in an 82-game season, isn't it, Donnie?
Yeah, exactly. Can you imagine if the NBA cut their season down to like college basketball? Let's call it 40 games. No back-to-backs, minimum of 2 to 3 days rest. Superstars play every game. There's enough teams in the league that you can balance out the week. We have games every single night with superstars playing on national TV. Oh, that would be terrible here. Understand this too, Joe. When you're looking at the economic model, Well, we need all the gates at home. Why does the NFL need 8 home games and is billions and billions and billions of dollars a year? Why? Because we all watch the product when it comes on, because unless somebody is injured, concussion or broken leg on a Monday Night Football game, hey, man, Lamar's got the off night tonight. We're going to see the backup tonight. It doesn't happen. The NBA is so money stupid right now that if they just saw behind the clouds, we'd say, you know what? If we just limit these games here, Joe, our superstars can play. Devin Williams out here. He's going to try to play again in the Big Apple. By the way, he got big money from the Mets. He did nothing with the Yankees except blow up their bullpens. He was a gas can out there.
Yeah, leave it to the Mets to pick up the scraps there for the Yankees. Listen, the Yankees had him, and the Yankees, I can assure you, have thought that there was a possibility of him turning it around. They would have kept him, but yet no. The Yankees, like other relievers in the past, Donnie, basically washed their hands of him and said, "Yep, not going to happen." And the Mets are there to scoop him up. But at this point, who can trust Evan Williams as a closer? It's one thing to be good in Milwaukee. It's another thing to be good in the New York media market.
How about the L.A. media market, Joe? Remember Anthony Rendon? I hate baseball. I hate this team. Just pay me my money. The Angels are in talks to buy him out. They should have really good lawyers that can just get him on, like, we're going to fire you with cause, meaning we don't have to pay you out. Baseball's great. Sign your name on the dotted line. Doesn't matter if you hate the team, hate the organization, or refuse to play. You're going to get your money, Joe.
There was another guy, too, the guy from the Orioles, Donnie, that got $300 million and then hit $120 the rest of the way.
What was his name? Chris what? Chris Davis? What? Now, what was his name?
Chris Davis.
Why can't I remember it?
Chris Davis,
yeah.
Him and Rendon battling for supremacy there of the most wasted money ever spent.
People, get ready. We are talking college football next. It's debate time. But I don't know. We could be on the same side to have a debate. Let's ask the important questions on who's getting in next.
When LeBron James decides he's retiring, it is coming with trumpets blaring, Adam Silver by his side, and he is going on a state-by-state, coast-to-coast tour so that everyone can acknowledge how great he was and give him a parting gift and thank him for his amazing contributions to the NBA.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Look at Nikola Jokic. He had kind of gotten himself off to a slow start at the beginning of the year, but that was partially because of that 50-point game that Aaron Gordon had, or it was the Jamal Murray had a big game. But these last 6 or 7 games, he's been putting up video game stats. His 62.8% from the floor would be the best in, I think, 3 or 4 years.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
It's stunning to think that, right? And I had the over on the win total, or going into the year with the Patriots, was 8.5. I thought they could win 10 games. They've already won 10 games. And that is a stunning turnaround, to go from worst to first here. And they're not the only team that could do it. The Jaguars could do it too. They are right on that precipice here if they handle their business against the Titans the next couple weeks and, at least split between the Indianapolis Colts those 2 games.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
All right, college football, debate time, a huge television show tonight, which is going to set the stage. And I want to ask you this question here because I hear the arguments, right? And again, I have to say, I am a Miami fan. So sometimes you can say, oh, you're pointing in the wrong direction. I'm an Eagles fan. I blast them repeatedly at this point. But when I honestly look at the criteria to get into a college football playoff, and we're not going back 25 years where it was 2 teams that got in and people were voting on mythical national champions. There's much better ways to do it now that we have 12 teams in. I don't agree with the automatic buys because you're not getting the best 12 teams in. It's more of an invitational as opposed to the best teams get it. But if we just are being optimistic about a Miami perspective, 2 losses and 2 losses. Similar schedule, close neck and neck. One team beat the other. There's no debate at that point. So I'm going to ask Joe that question in a moment. But also, when I'm taking a look where the committee painted themselves in a corner and said, well, we think Notre Dame's better than Miami. At the end of the season, everybody's going like, well, head-to-head is the top criteria. How do you work your way out of this? Joe, answer me this. Do they leave Miami out of the college football playoff, or do they still give them a pathway by saying, here's where we're at, here's what we're laying out? Usually they take the path of, if you make your college football championship game and you lose it, we don't hold that against you. If you win it, it's only a bonus. So do they say tonight, Joe, well, you know what? Alabama does have 2 losses. If they lose the SEC championship game, Miami moves up. BYU and or Texas Tech has a loss. If they lose, one of those teams is going behind Miami. That's the only way I see fit that they can make this clear. Because if they don't, Joe, it is going to be an unbelievable shockwave earthquake ramification on how we look at the future of the college football playoff.
Well, listen, like we had said, Donnie, tonight there is going to be a record amount of outrage in college football towns and cities around the country. So get ready for it. And here's why. Let's play it back, Donnie. Let's look at the teams, because I have 8 teams right now that are already a lock for a playoff berth, right? Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Oregon, Ole Miss, and now let's put in Oklahoma as the only 2-loss team of those because of the strength of schedule and the teams they beat. So that means, Donnie, 2 more bids will go to the 4th and 5th highest ranked conference champs, one of which will be either the American champion, right, or the Sun Belt champion. And that means we have way more. We got 2 spots open that have to go to a number of 2-loss teams that all think they considered, right? Notre Dame, BYU. I mean, you've got all the Miami, you got all these other teams just on the outside looking in, which means this ranking tonight matters, because are you going to jump anybody if you're 13 or 14? No. Like, you have to be, Miami has to be ranked tonight to a spot where if somebody is to lose a conference championship game, it opens the door, I think, for the committee to slide them right in, even though they don't have to play another game. So tonight's ranking means everything for anybody on the outside looking in right now.
And also, it does matter, like, when you lose, because people always see, like, around, social media. 1993, Florida State, they should have played Notre Dame. Notre Dame in a game where in a season where it's the top 2 teams, you can't lose your last game and expect to stay number 2 in the country or jump another team that didn't do that. But now that we extrapolate and we have 12 teams getting in, and also the arguments for, yes, I do think Notre Dame is good and legitimately should be in the college football playoff, but if they're head-to-head against Miami doesn't matter, what does it mean? And also, I always give the SEC the benefit of the doubt. But why does Alabama just we lost to Florida State by double digits, but that doesn't matter at this point. Now, why wouldn't that matter? Yes. Florida State is a horrendous football team. And last year, Notre Dame got in the college football playoff. They lost to a MAC team at home. We can't play these, semantics. When you play the game on the field, I don't care if it was played in August or December. If you beat that team straight up and you're similar in the polls, if you would have said Notre Dame is number 2, Miami is 19, yeah, I get it. They're not going to jump 17 spots. But number 9 and number 12 and I beat you, it's hard to hold you out of it. But again, Joe, there's a chance for the committee, which they don't want to look bad or be embarrassed or have people too flustered. The way to get Miami and Notre Dame is to say, look, if Texas Tech gets beat or BYU gets beat, they're out of it. That's 2 losses and the most recent loss. If Georgia ends up knocking off Alabama, well, that's going to take place. But also, Joe, what if Georgia loses and drop the 2 losses at this point with a recent loss? There's so many ways that the committee can play this up by saying, Miami, you're not going to get a chance to play for your championship game here, but here's a way you can get in. Because honestly, If they said, Miami, you're not getting in unless this happens, and it doesn't happen, well, then you live with it at that point. But if Miami's completely shut out after tonight, where no matter what happens, which includes another 2 or a 3-loss team, like Alabama gets in as a 3-loss team over Miami, that can't happen, Joe. It can't.
Well, also you can't losing to SMU and Louisville both teams finished 8-4 in the season. I wouldn't view either of those as bad losses.
Correct.
It's not like they lost to, Florida State, who was awful. But I would also caution, I wouldn't exactly declare the Alabama Crimson Tide safe because they barely made the cut last week. And the committee has no obligation to protect a conference championship loser. So, they didn't drop SMU last year, who lost to Clemson in the ACC championship, Donnie, but it was a walk-off 56-yard field goal. What if Georgia beats Alabama 31-10 or 31-13? Now all of a sudden, that's why Miami's placement tonight is going to be very, very important, because it's very easy to justify taking a team, let's say currently at number 12, maybe they move to number 11. If that's the case, very easy for you to slide Miami right in.
And again, we wouldn't have any of these issues or be screaming at this point right now, because it feels like they have to expand to at least 16 teams if you're going to give auto bids to conferences that shouldn't be in the college football playoff. Like, if you just remove those group of 5 teams, you'd say, okay, Miami gets in, and also Notre Dame gets in, and maybe Vanderbilt can squeeze in an argument for Texas. That's one thing here. But that's what you get so upset about, which I don't think Miami and or Notre Dame are going to win a championship. But I'll tell you right now, they have a better chance in North Texas at winning a championship at this point. And that's the issue that we have. I don't know if it's going to get explained tonight, because they have horrible explanations week to week, but there is nothing set in stone where they've been telling you one thing for weeks. They can change it up and make their mind a different situation. The first time I'm going to watch it is tonight. I can't wait to see what the committee has to say. Kalshi Markets coming up next right here on the Early Line.
The play is Our Fam. You don't know about Our Fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ole Miss got left at the altar, and Ole Miss decided, I'm either going to let her continue to embarrass me, or I'm going to have some self-respect and kick her ass out the door and lock it behind her and not let her back in. And that, for me, is the right thing to do. Lane Kiffin had the right to leave. Yep. He chose to leave. I wish you the best of luck. Not really.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Take a look at it and say, all right, well, can they do this? But the one thing I know, every year I love the SEC championship game. Like this year, we're going to get a pretty good treat in the Big Ten because you have Indiana and Ohio State. But every single year, it's never like I don't have to watch that, because the reason I bring that up is there's a game that's going to be on 8 o'clock that probably should just be played at midnight or 1 a.m. The ACC championship game. Like, things are not the same.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's stunning to think that, right? And I had the over on the win total, or going into the year with the Patriots, was 8.5. I thought they could win 10 games. They've already won 10 games. And that is a stunning turnaround, to go from worst to first here. And they're not the only team that could do it. The Jaguars could do it too. They are right on that precipice here if they handle their business against the Titans the next couple weeks and, at least split between the Indianapolis Colts those 2 games.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
You love that Kalshi marketplace, a different way to get down on the odds that you've been waiting for. Who's going to win championships? Who's going to be the MVP? Which team's going to be in the college football playoff? And even better markets like where is a coach actually going to go? We told you, Lane Kiflin's going to LSU. Did you cash in that market on Kalshi? Well, you should have done that here. More Kalshi on the way today, Joe. The Stanley Cup. Who's going to win it? Who's going to play in it? For me, I like the Philadelphia Flyers, not to play in it. I've watched maybe 5 minutes total of the NHL this entire season. Why? Because once again, make me commissioner. We don't play hockey in October, November, or December. We wait till football season where everybody can enjoy it. But the marketplace, Joe, is always moving. Which teams will play in the 2026 Stanley Cup? The leader with a 13% chance, Carolina and Colorado. Second place, 10% chance, Tampa Bay and Colorado. How about that, Joe? Long shots here in the marketplace. It feels like everybody just feels like Colorado will be in the Stanley Cup final.
Well, listen, at that price, Donnie, there is no reason not to jump on it right now at that price, because as sure as I'm sitting here, I mean, they have earned points, I think, in every game but one. Which, being this far into the season, Donnie, is absolutely absurd. They've outscored every one of their opponents by nearly triple the amount of goals of the next best team as far as point differential goes. They are not just winning games. They are as dominant as we have seen. So if I can get them at that price, Donnie, I got no problem letting it play out for another couple of months. And let's say if we can get that from 13% to 30%, Donnie, I'll cash out and I'm good to go.
Cashing out and good to go. How about in the MVP market here in the NBA? We just had the coach on. He was telling you a certain player that he liked, but in the marketplace right now, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 40% chance here, followed by Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic here on the Kalshi marketplace. For you, Joe, which way would you be going early in the season?
Oh, boy. I mean, SGA is a great story, but again, I'd pump the brakes here a little bit, given the fact that they have played absolutely nobody. Their schedule has been as weak as it is, but they are racking up a ton of stats, though, isn't he? But ultimately, I think Luka is the guy. If Luka can play in enough games and continue this stretch, and all of a sudden the Lakers are a force to go up against OKC, they're going to look for a reason to get Luka involved in that conversation. But again, I don't need to see the outcome with Kalshi, Donnie, which is the beautiful thing. I just need to get an improvement on the price that I buy into, which I think I can with Doncic at this point.
Here's a movie scene, Joe. I want to play out for you on Kalshi today. Ready? Hey, big man, you want to make some big bucks? You bet Kate Cunningham at a 2% chance. You lay 100 down. You got $5,000 coming back. What's that from, Joe? Yep. What movie? Come on. What movie is that?
That is good. Was that from the making of the early line? What was that from, Donnie?
No, come on, big man. You want to make some big bucks here. It's two guys that just got off a boat from Cuba looking to move up in the underworld in the Miami drug trade, Joe. I'll give you a hint right there. What movie is that? Come on now.
Yes, say hello to my little friend. Very nice, Donnie. Outstanding. Yes, Scarface it is. Very nice.
There it is. Make it up on the fly, man. $5,000 on Cade for a $100 investment. Tremendous stuff here as we go. You know what else we need to see, Joe? Who's going to be the coach of the New York Giants? And it probably is going to be another Joe named Joe Judge, one of the worst hires I've ever seen in the National Football League. But that's par for the course for the Giants, because the leaders right now, Joe, Mike McCarthy, Lou Anaromo, and Mike Kafka here. Giants fans, look, I understand. When I grew up, it was always like even keel. Like the Giants fans and the Eagles fans would unite in their hatred for the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington/Commanders, whatever they were called back in the day. But now I look at the Giants and say, I almost pity the fan base. What is to look forward to? Mike McCarthy as the Giants head man? You can't be serious, can we?
No, it could be worse. Chip Kelly could be on that list somewhere too, as well. But I got to, we were talking off air, Donnie. I think Mike Kafka's got an advantage over everybody because it's basically an ongoing interview right now. And I love what he has done with this team, even though they haven't won some games here, but that was never the goal. He's installing, everyone's accountable here. Listen, the offense has thrived here since he's taken over. So I don't mind, throwing a couple of bucks on him too, because I do think he's got the best opportunity right now.
Like, you usually get excited. We're going to get a new coach. And they say, who's our options? McCarthy, Hafley, Kubiak, Pierce, Anaramo, Kafka, Minter, and Sarkisian. You're like, man, we probably should have just kept the same guy we had in Brian Dable at this point, tried to ride this thing out. Tough scene, Giants. Enjoy it. You got 2 wins. Isn't it a lot of fun? We'll be right back after this break.
The play is Our Fam. You don't know about Our Fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Ole Miss got left at the altar, and Ole Miss decided, I'm either going to let her continue to embarrass me, or I'm going to have some self-respect and kick her ass out the door and lock it behind her and not let her back in. And that, for me, is the right thing to do. Lane Kiffin had the right to leave.
Yep.
He chose to leave. I wish you the best of luck. Not really.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Take a look at it and say, all right, well, can they do this? But the one thing I know, every year I love the SEC championship game. Like this year, we're going to get a pretty good treat in the Big Ten because you have Indiana and Ohio State. But every single year, it's never like I don't have to watch that. Because the reason I bring that up is there's a game that's going to be on 8 o'clock that probably should just be played at midnight or 1 a.m. The ACC championship game. Like, things are not the same.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's stunning to think that, right? And I had the over on the win total or going into the year with the Patriots was 8.5. I thought they could win 10 games. They've already won 10 games. And that is a stunning turnaround, to go from worst to first here. And they're not the only team that could do it. The Jaguars could do it too. They are right on that precipice here if they handle their business against the Titans the next couple weeks and, at least split between the Indianapolis Colts those 2 games.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
Never too early when you close the book on a Monday night football game and then have to look at the next week here because it comes up quick on a Thursday and we got a gem of a game and monster importance in the standings for the NFC. 8:15 on Thursday night, live from the Motor City of Detroit. It's the Dallas Cowboys and it's the Detroit Lions. Last time we saw these two teams, they both played on Thanksgiving. One was a victory for the Dallas Cowboys over the Kansas City Chiefs. The other was a loss from the Detroit Lions against the Green Bay Packers. Squaring off on Thursday night, the look-ahead line, Joe, 5.5. No longer the case. It's down to -3 as a favorite for Detroit. Questions in the air. Amon-Ra St. Brown, is he going to play in this game? Heck, Detroit even thought they were getting back one of the best centers to ever play the game in Frank Ragnow. He comes back and gets hey, let's take a look at that hamstring. Oh, no, it's severed. You're going back to being retired here. They can't catch a break any which way. Dallas coming to town hot. Can they steal this game, Joe?
Well, why not? I mean, they certainly have the offense to be able to do it. And, we've talked about it now how many times in a row. Like this is not a great offense here like years past for the Detroit Lions. And this is not a terrible defense with the Dallas Cowboys anymore. So a little bit of a short week here for these teams, but not really because they did play last Thursday. So it actually works out pretty good for them. But, if I'm Detroit, is this a must-win game? If I'm Dallas, I know it's must-win. I don't have a lot of room for error here moving forward. On the road, it would be nice to see Dallas win a game on the road, Donnie, with this new defense, because we've only had a chance to see them at home. But the reality is it's in a dome. It's inside. This could be either one of the highest scoring games of the week, Donnie, or this could turn into be which team makes the most mistakes in a sloppy affair in which somebody's going to win it on a field goal. I tend to think points could be coming in this game.
Or, Joe, as you started off the show, how about just a really bad call by a referee decides a playoff?
Yeah, that's also.
Prime time Thursday night football. You know the drill. By the
Yep.
way, Joe, you did say this game is in a dome, so good atmosphere, clean, nice and warm. How about the next game we're going to talk about? The Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. By the time this game ends, Joe, we're expected to be around 10 to 9 degrees in this game. No precipitation and light winds, just freezing cold football between Caleb Williams and Jordan Love. Two teams vying for supremacy in the NFC North. The side, -6.5 for the Green Bay Packers. Seems pretty strong. The total dropping, Joe. The opening number at 46.5. Now across the marketplace, I'm seeing 44.5. A huge game to decide a lot in the NFC and close to a touchdown favorite for those Packers.
So these two teams are infuriating. As good as the Bears looked last week on the road against the Eagles, Caleb Williams is a head scratcher for a quarterback. And as far as Green Bay goes, listen, which one of these offenses shows up? Which version of the Green Bay Packers offense shows up? The one that has balance, the one where Jordan Love is lighting teams up here and connecting all, making completions across the board to 7 different receivers? Or is it the one that they can't get out of their own way? They have not been great at home this year at Lambeau, Donnie, ironically enough. But boy, does this feel like a big number, but I think it's a big number for a reason, because I'm not trusting. At some point, Caleb Williams is going to have to win you a game, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it.
By the way, we're going to bring up this next game right here, Joe. Philadelphia and Los Angeles. Again, we have big games. Isn't it nice to talk about big games in the NFL in the regular season? It feels like we get like one a week if we're lucky. It feels like we have multiple games this week. Philadelphia and Los Angeles. I'm not surprised the Eagles right now are a favorite by 3 points to 2.5 points, depending where you're shopping it. Because up in the air, if Trey Lance plays, the Eagles are probably going to win this game just because Trey Lance is playing. But Herbert plays in this game. Now we got an interesting one. But look at this total too, Joe, in the holding pattern. An Eagles-Chargers game in a dome, not outside of Philadelphia where it's 50-degree temperature, 50-degree winds blowing, and it's like, hey, it's chilly and maybe there's some precipitation. Joe, 40.5. We're sitting on a total between the Eagles and the Chargers. You tell me right now, like if we're, and again, market moves, right? We talk about Kalshi. Buy in on the certain where the spread goes. If Herbert is playing in this game, the Eagles and the Chargers probably go to closer to a pick 'em. Also, if Herbert is playing in this game, Joe, there's no way it's 40.5. I feel like betting the over right now based on, Herbert is playing in this game. He's playing in this game, I believe.
There's no way he's not playing. I absolutely see him. Now, whether or not he'll be able to take any snaps under center is a different question, because he didn't when he came back into that game last week against the Raiders, but they are home. The conditions will be epic. And the question to me is, again, is this the kind of defense with the Chargers that's going to allow Philadelphia to figure things out offensively? Donnie, I mean, you're the Eagles guy here. Does this strike you as a defense that, they can get right here? They're going to get the running game going. I don't know. It feels like the spread is right. But the question is whether or not the Eagles can figure it out offensively, and wouldn't blame anybody for going, I don't think so.
Yeah, and also you're again in a dome, like you're going to be able to throw the football around. But then we saw the Eagles score 21 points on the Cowboys. You shut it down in the second half or the final 3 quarters of that game. There's so many mysteries heading around it where sometimes, Joe, it's just that buy low point, not buying the Eagles to win the game, but 40 points. Like, do we really think the Chargers and the Eagles in a dome are going like 17-10, 17-13? No way.
Crazy.
Both of those teams will be in the 20s at that point here. Heck, even if Trey Lance plays, they're probably still going to move the football as is, because there is a way that you can run on the field at the Eagles. We'll find that one out as we go, but also taking a look at the Steelers and the Ravens, Joe. This is one of those where, like, hey, the Steelers should be so far away from the Ravens that this game shouldn't even matter. Not the case. Seems like they both stink right now, but look at this. The Ravens at home favored by 5.5 to 6, depending where he's shopping at, and a total of 43.5. I'm telling you right now, when I look at Baltimore, I still have optimism because I think Lamar can get a little bit healthier now, has a little bit extra time off. There's better players on Baltimore, and every time I Pittsburgh play, I go, I don't know how they move the football at all. Aaron Rodgers is absolutely cooked. He's got a broken wrist. The running game is average at best. There's no deep threat wide receiver. You cover DK Metcalf, and nobody can beat you here. I like the Ravens early week. As bad as the Ravens have been, I like them over the Steelers.
I do not. Absolutely not. Because
Tell me
take
why.
what you've seen from both of these teams to this point and throw it out the window. These two teams, forever, Donnie, 9 of the last 11 games have been decided by one score or less. Okay? The average point scored in these games is barely 40 points here between these two teams. This one series, just throw it all out the window. Now, this isn't one of the best Ravens teams that we've seen. I mean, heck, there have been a lot of question marks about the Steelers over the last couple of seasons, certainly offensively, which, is why they signed Aaron Rodgers. And yet, the Ravens, much better team last year, couldn't pull away from them. I don't see this. To me, is always going to be a series, low scoring, and it's going to come down to special teams. Who makes the field goal when it matters the most? It's a 3-point game one way or the other. No way am I laying more than a field goal with the Ravens. I don't care that it's home. This series always tells us the same thing, Donnie. Fewer points, field goal wins it.
I am disgusted by what's taking place there in the Steel City at this point right now. The fire Tomlin chance, and leave it up to Mike Tomlin, too. Fire Tomlin chance goes on the road. Pittsburgh wins this game, then they're winning the division. Like, I don't get it here. Pittsburgh saves away for another season.
So ridiculous, these two teams.
Makes no sense.
This is who they are. It's crazy.
Just bad football teams. And yes, it does kick off on Thursday night with that Detroit-Dallas game. But on Sunday, again, big matchups across the board. But, Joe, maybe none bigger. Now we're going to preview this. Tell me how excited you are for Tennessee and Cleveland, Ward versus Sanders, and a total of 33.5. Does it get any better like that in the NFL? It doesn't get any better than that.
I thought you were going to ask me about Miami and the Jets, two teams that keep winning games for no reason. But yes, no, I am very much looking forward. The first 1-3 wins that game.
My goodness. Get the hot takes ready, people. Pete Jensen's coming up. Let's talk a little hockey. Come on back.
The play is Our Fam. You don't know about Our Fam? Go look her up on social media. Go look at YouTube. 19-year-old from Spain, 6'6", block shots, runs the floor, rebounds, post up, inside, outside, pop the corn, serve the beer, and it can clean up the mess when you're done eating your meal. This lady is absolutely fantastic.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Ole Miss got left at the altar, and Ole Miss decided, I'm either going to let her continue to embarrass me, or I'm going to have some self-respect and kick her ass out the door and lock it behind her and not let her back in. And that, for me, is the right thing to do. Lane Kiffin had the right to leave. Yep. He chose to leave. I wish you the best of luck. Not really.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Take a look at it and you say, all right, well, can they do this? But the one thing I know, every year I love the SEC championship game. Like this year, we're going to get a pretty good treat in the Big Ten because you have Indiana and Ohio State. But every single year, it's never like I don't have to watch that. Because the reason I bring that up is there's a game that's going to be on 8 o'clock that probably should just be played at midnight or 1 a.m. The ACC championship game. Like, things are not the same.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's stunning to think that, right? And I had the over on the win total, or going into the year with the Patriots, was 8.5. I thought they could win 10 games. They've already won 10 games. And that is a stunning turnaround, to go from worst to first here. And they're not the only team that could do it. The Jaguars could do it too. They are right on that precipice here if they handle their business against the Titans the next couple weeks and, at least split between the Indianapolis Colts those two games.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
This is the Early Line on a Tuesday morning edition right here on the Sports Grid Network. Donnie writes out along with Joe Ranieri. Let's bring in our good friend here and a friend of the show, Pete Jensen. Pete, good to have you back on, man. How's it been?
Everything's been good, guys. Yeah, we're in the golden age of young superstars in the NHL. I mean, even since we last talked, look at how some of these guys have catapulted between Celebrini, Connor Bedard, Matthew Schaefer. The Anaheim Ducks look like not only a playoff contender, but a division title contender in the same division as Vegas and Edmonton. So that definitely has opened some eyes. And just in general, I feel like there's a real youth movement going on. These guys aren't just competing, they're dominating. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and it's a shame that we have Pete on the night after the Flyers got dominated by the Pittsburgh Penguins, because we'd spend probably a good segment here talking about the Flyers and how they look this year. Not so great last night, but Pete, let's look at the Stanley Cup odds right now. There's a team floating out there that has one regulation loss this season. That's the Avalanche. Plus 400 to plus 390 price points, depending on where you're shopping. Pete, tell me about the Colorado Avalanche and how they have this magnificent record.
So it's very early. We're not even 2 months into the season, just past the quarter mark. My preseason pick was Colorado over Carolina. I have some concerns about Carolina offensively and the scoring depth, but certainly Colorado is living up to high expectations and even exceeding them. They're leading the league in goals per game. They're also averaging the fewest goals allowed per game, and that's what's really changed things. You look back this time last year, they had two different goalies, and now they have Scott Wedgwood, who's performing at an elite level, and Mackenzie Blackwood, who missed the start of the season because of an injury, but he's been hot as well. This team is, limiting high danger shots against. They're saving them when they come by. It's been very impressive. They also have 12 different skaters with double-digit points already, including some guys on the second and third line, second and third defense pair. Oh, by the way, NHL scoring leader Nathan MacKinnon still leading the charge, and defenseman scoring leader Cale Makar. So you have a combination of everything going right now for Colorado.
Well, let's talk about a team that's not going well for, but yet the market still love them, and that's the Edmonton Oilers, who have, 10 wins, and I think only 5 of them come in regulation. They can't stop anybody. Everybody scores on them. What's the deal with Edmonton?
Yeah, they kind of did this last year, remember? And then they flipped the switch in the playoffs. They were not going into the playoffs on a high note at all. The year before that, I think they made the coaching change. So this has kind of been a recurring trend in the regular season with the Edmonton Oilers, despite them being led by superstars Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Even their best defenseman, Evan Bouchard, is prone to a lot of defensive lapses. They've had some injuries. Jake Wallman, now Jack Roslovic, who actually has been their best off-season mover by far, has been one of the top 5 off-season movers in scoring, but he's banged up. Nugent Hopkins just came back from injury. So combination of lack of secondary scoring depth and then also some injuries. And then the goaltending, by the way, with Skinner and Pickard is dead last in team save percentage. So they may need to make a move. It's interesting. Even Anaheim right now, who I mentioned as a big surprise, they have 2 goalie injuries. They still have Ville Husso, who won on Monday night. And Vegas has been down to their second string, third string goaltender because of injuries. They signed Carter Hart, who could debut as early as Tuesday. So they're getting some help in the goaltending net as early as this week. So these other teams near the top of the Pacific are preparing themselves for the rigorous road and having goaltending depth, whereas Edmonton's sticking with that same tandem and not looking very good at all. I'm looking for Edmonton to having to prioritize their goaltending before the trade deadline here.
Love talking some hockey here with Pete Jensen. If we look at the Calder Cup, which is the Rookie of the Year, it seems to be a two-man race right now. The Islanders' Matthew Schaefer and the Canadiens' Ivan Demidov. If you look at those two players and the projection for the rest of the season, who gets the edge for you, or could it be somebody else?
It could be somebody else. The somebody else might be one of those goaltenders, Jesper Wallstedt, who has 3 shutouts this year. He's coming on strong. And that's probably the second best goalie tandem in the NHL for Minnesota, with Wallstedt and Gustafsson. If Gustafsson either falters or deals with injury, I mean, this guy is a stud. We've been talking about him for years. Even Yaroslav Askarov, we've been talking about him as a goalie prospect for many years. He was in Nashville at first, got traded last year to San Jose, and now he's part of that young core out in San Jose with Celebrini, with Will Smith and company, and San Jose is probably the most improved team in the league. What Schaefer is doing is ridiculous. I would still call him the clear front runner right now, and he is among not only the rookie leaders, but all the defenseman leaders in some key categories like goals, power play points, points outright. I mean, edge stats, he's up there among the defenseman leaders in the 20-plus mile per hour speed bursts and hardest shot and all these different categories. It's almost like this guy's a 25-year-old defenseman entering his prime. That's what he's doing statistically with his workload, and he's also turned around the Islanders in the standings. They're on the cusp of playoff position, and one of the biggest stories of the year because of Matthew Schaefer. But don't, overlook those two sleepers I mentioned, Jesper Wallstedt and Yaroslav Askarov.
Got to ask you about my Panthers taking on Toronto here tonight there, Pete. But Toronto, no Mitch Marner, and it has not been a good transition here. We know the injuries for the Panthers. What do we think we get tonight here?
Yeah, Florida's I'm not concerned about Florida. I think they still might be the best team in the Eastern Conference when push comes to shove come postseason time, as long as they're remotely healthy. They have not had Barkov all year. He's done for the year, but Matthew Tkachuk will be coming back soon, so that's good for sure. I'm looking at two guys on Florida who have extremely low shooting percentages with 50-plus shots on goal. Carter Verhaeghe, facing his former team from many moons ago here, he's only shooting 7%, and Mackie Samoskevich, third lowest in the NHL among those parameters at 5.9%. So these are guys that have been knocking on the door. I think they're going to eventually bounce back. And then for Toronto, just look at their defensemen scoring this year. Morgan Rielly and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, a bit of injury concern with OEL, but these guys are both over 20 points on the season. Only Toronto and Washington have two guys with 20-plus points on D.
Pete Jensen, we love him. NHL.com. Make sure you give him a follow, Pete. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining us this morning on the Early Line.
When LeBron James decides he's retiring, it is coming with trumpets blaring, Adam Silver by his side, and he is going on a state-by-state, coast-to-coast tour so that everyone can acknowledge how great he was and give him a parting gift and thank him for his amazing contributions to the NBA.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Look at Nikola Jokic. He had kind of gotten himself off to a slow start at the beginning of the year, but that was partially because of that 50-point game that Aaron Gordon had, or it was the Jamal Murray had a big game. But these last 6 or 7 games, he's been putting up video game stats. His 62.8% from the floor would be the best in, I think, 3 or 4 years.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
It's stunning to think that, right? And I had the over on the win total, or going into the year with the Patriots, was 8.5. I thought they could win 10 games. They've already won 10 games. And that is a stunning turnaround, to go from worst to first here. And they're not the only team that could do it. The Jaguars could do it too. They are right on that precipice here if they handle their business against the Titans the next couple weeks and, at least split between the Indianapolis Colts those 2 games.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
right back at it. Where does the time go? 2 hours up and down. It's just how we do on the early line. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of talk. It's a lot of chatter here. And even with some of the coaches that I do actually like, just not when they beat my favorite teams here. Ben Johnson, man of the people. How about this?
My wife was just laughing. That's about it. Yeah, I guess my 2-year-old was watching the TV screen back at home, and she's like, no shirt, no shirt. She just pointed at the screen, no shirt, no shirt. And my wife had no idea what was going on. So that's really about how that went. I think anytime you get a chance to feed a city, you want to do it. So man of the people.
There you go, man of the people. I think it was free hot dogs if he took his shirt off, his shirt off there. Hot dogs for the people in Chicago. I'll tell you how you win this city of Chicago. Have a good football team that plays hard each and every week with a legitimate chance to make the playoffs, to make a deep run. Chicago will love you. Why? Because they never get that, Joe.
No, they don't. And kudos, he's done a great job with that team, with the city, and he's certainly endearing them to him. So again, keep winning football games, and boy, oh boy, that's another fan base that's long overdue to be excited about something.
That certainly is. I'll tell you what else to get excited for here. Now's the time we reach out to the people, and we want to know what they're thinking, Joe. Here's our Fade the Public poll for Tuesday. Come on now. You just watched a football game last night where you saw Drake May out there on full display. Another 250-plus yard performance, multiple touchdowns, another victory, and 11 wins on the season. So that's SportsGrid on X. If you're not out there following us, what are you doing? We ask questions every day, and this one based upon last night. Who was your favorite NFL MVP this season? So now you take a look at the 4 options. Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love. Do you know the leader in the clubhouse is? You see it right there. It's Drake May, fresh off a nice performance. But by the way, the live total, Joe, down a little bit to 52%, with Matthew Stafford now at 38%, moving up the list. Drake May right now should be the leader in the clubhouse until Matthew Stafford resurrects himself and throws 5 touchdown passes to Puka and Devontae Adams this weekend.
He beat a 2-win Giant team, and now
Big
all
win,
of a sudden
Joe.
he's the
Big
great.
win.
Now
Stop.
he's Tom Brady, right? He's Tom Brady. Now you stop it, please. I would even take a flyer, and I would vote, because I think a win on Thursday night and maybe a running of the table, and just like that, Dak Prescott. The only reason nobody's paid attention to him is because we all stuck a fork in Dallas early on. But all of a sudden, Dak Prescott's numbers have been pretty darn impressive, and he's got all the weapons in order to rise up that board. So my vote, Dak Prescott.
How about that? Voting for Dak Prescott here. By the way, he has a chance to really shine on primetime football on Thursday with a game that's totaled in the mid-50s. Maybe you get some fun. George Pickens out there, CeeDee Lamb. It's how we get down. But you know how else we get down? 2-0 night to start the week on our best bets. Here's bye. Oh, yeah, Joe. We're looking for winners tonight. Where are we going? Where are we going?
Well, I am going to go to the ACC/SEC battle here at Cameron Indoor with the Florida Gators now getting 7.5. This opened up 8.5, Donnie, and it's already the money starting to come in on the Gators. And I agree with it. Listen, to start the season, the champions, they were overvalued. They returned a ton of production, all the big men from last year, but they did have to replace their guards. They brought in Xavier Lee and Boogie Fland, and they just have not figured it out offensively with those 2 guys, but they will. And the fact that now we're getting them at this kind of price, I think, is a buy low spot here, especially in a game. They have plenty enough size and experience, Florida, to make Cameron Boozer work for every point. This feels like it's going to come down to the last couple of possessions. I'm getting more than 2 buckets here for a defending national champs that has this much talent. I'll take the 7.5 here with the Florida Gators tonight.
All right, let's get busy here in the NBA. A little public fade action. I say nobody wanted the Utah Jazz except your boy here, taking the points, but still winning the game outright. Love to see it for Utah. For me, I'm going with the New Orleans Pelicans. Look at this line. Opened up at 9, now sits around 10 at most marketplaces. Only 35% of the bets coming in on the Pelicans. That's where I'm going. I quoted a movie earlier, Joe. I'm going to quote the same movie right now. Fly Fly, Pelicans, fly. Hey, another Scarface reference for your boy here as the Pelicans, getting double digits at home, closes out a 2-0 night for us again tonight, Joe.
I love it. Yes, let's roll here. A lot of college basketball, a lot of NBA action on the way. Looking forward to it.
Can't wait to do it again tomorrow. Hump Day Wednesday on deck. Watch that college football playoff show tonight. Talk to us tomorrow on the early line.